Hola, soy Víctor Pirelli, estamos aquí en el motorhome de Pirelli. A continuación vais a ver la entrevista con el jefe, el gerifalte de todo esto, que es Mario Isola. Así que bueno, espero que disfrutéis y nos vemos en futuras entrevistas. Hasta luego. Okay, first of all, thank you for receiving us
You're more
here
than welcome.
in Pitwalkers. So let's start with the interview. How complicated is to create F1 tires? As you know, in the previous years, you have some troubles forcing to change the structure on the compound.
Yeah, of course, Formula One is the top of technology in the world. It's a very demanding championship where we need to develop the best tires. For example, last year was a big challenge because not only for the wider tires, but also because the technical regulation was completely different, more downforce, more speed in the corner, and also the target we had to achieve was different. If you remember, at the beginning of our experience in 2011, we were requested to make tires with more degradation.
Yeah.
And it's strange for a tire manufacturer to make a tire with high degradation when you spend years and years to try to reduce the degradation. But we did it to increase the show, to improve the show, as I said. And last year, the target was completely different because drivers wanted to push on the tire, to attack on the tire. So we were requested to make new tires with less degradation to give them the opportunity to do that. And we accepted the challenge. We developed a complete new family of compounds, obviously new construction because of different size, and every year is a new challenge. Don't forget that even if we freeze the product for 1 year, but they are developing the cars during the year. So we need to develop each year new product to cope with the load, the speed, and the characteristics of the new cars.
Okay, thank you. You get data from all the teams when you analyze the degradation of the tires. But we've seen some of them having more problems with the degradation. So which data you think is more important? The one with more problems or the one that can treat better your tires?
When you are a supplier, you need to make a product that is good for everybody. But clearly we have 10 different teams, 20 different drivers with different driving style. And also if the cars look similar, they are very different. And also the level of stress on the tire is different. So we need to make a product that is reliable, that is at the right level of quality and performance, and that is not a compromise, but at the end of the day we need to fit the tires on all the cars. So it is clear that, for example, the quickest teams, in general, as a general comment, have less problem with warm-up of the tire because they put more energy on the tire. But then maybe they have to manage degradation because the stress on the tire is higher. For smaller teams, they have less degradation because the level of stress on the tire is lower, but they struggle a little bit to warm up the tire. So it's always, each team is facing different issues because they want to use the tire in the best possible way. So in the tire you can find performance. That's why you can hear different comments or different complaints.
Okay, thank you. Some fans request a qualifying compound. Yeah.
Why not?
Have you been in touch with FIA to create it?
We have a lot of talks with FIA. We have a lot of talks with the Liberty Media, with the teams. And in the past, we showed the sport that we are always available to talk about improvements and to develop tires depending on the targets. So if we feel that for the future we need a qualifying tire or we need a different approach with qualifying and the race managed in different way, we are open to discuss that.
Yeah.
Obviously, it is not easy to make a regulation because when 2-3 years ago we moved from 2 compounds to 3 compounds, now everything seems easy. But when we started the discussion and we had different draft of the regulation, we found every time something positive but also something negative. So we need to consider all the different aspects, and when you have the final version of the regulation, you need to be sure that is an upgrade, not something that is stepping you back.
Okay. For this season, you create the new hypersoft and ultra hard compound. What do you expect that those types will give to the races?
In general, all the range is one step softer than last year. So we use the same names than last year, but the current medium is the soft level of last year. And on top of that, we decided to add the hyper soft because especially in the street circuits or circuits with a very low severity, we had no soft compound so soft for these circuits. The super hard is a different story. Super hard is just a backup compound that we are not planning to use during the year. It's just an insurance for us. If for any reason during the season we have an unexpected development of the cars, we have the super hard in the pocket. At the moment, forget to see the super hard of the championship.
Will compromise the cold temperatures of these days in Barcelona your work for the season, especially with the new hypersoft compound that you made?
The cold conditions we are experiencing now that are quite unusual for this region and this season are not helping, of course. I'm positive because the weather forecast for next week is much better. So hopefully we have next week 4 days of testing in more representative conditions. This year is a bit more difficult because we don't have only the new tires with the new compounds, but also the new tarmac. So we need to understand which is the effect of the new tarmac and which is the effect of the new tires. It's not very easy. With these conditions, of course we collect the data, but we need to pay attention to consider this data if they are really representative or not.
Okay, thank you. Some fans complain that you choose a conservative election of tires. What would you say to those that they want a more aggressive election?
But last year I agree with them. But last year it was a decision because we had new cars, new regulation, everything was new, and also, as I said, drivers wanted to attack on tires, so to push on them. We choose a conservative approach, but also was difficult to develop this tire. We had the mule cars with different performances and so on. This year I disagree because we went one step softer. We introduced the hyper soft compound, and if you look at the selection for the first 4 events, we are softer than last year, with a target to have 2 stops, to have a bit more degradation, and to have more overtaking. So we are more aggressive. We will see soon if we are aggressive enough or we need to go more.
Okay, a lot of fans would like to see again the refueling of cars. In case that this happen again, would you choose a softer election of tires?
If it happens, we have to redesign the tire because obviously you have a car that in general is running with less fuel, so is lighter. And not only lighter, but with short stints. So if it happens, and if they decide to change the regulation, for sure we need to move on the softer side, because it's the fuel that is defining the strategies, not the tire, or more the fuel than the tire.
Okay. Will the Pirelli tires being the judge of the races of this season? We will see when
We want that the drivers are the heroes of the competitions. People watch Formula One because of the drivers. And one of the targets of the new technical regulation was to create tires that are more physical to drive, more difficult to drive, to highlight the ability of the drivers. So tires are a part of the show, for sure. We need to show that we have a good product, we are able to provide the best possible tire. But at the end of the day, is the driver that is the protagonist of the show.
Okay. For those years in Formula One, which team had more degradation problems and which one treat your tires better?
But Formula One is so quick that if I think back at 7 years in Formula One, everything changed. We start with one type of engine. In 2014, we had the hybrid engines, and then we had the wider tires. And each time you have such a big change, you have a revolution in the balance of the teams. So if we refer to last year, for example, we started the season with Mercedes that was very quick in qualifying, but a bit more problems during the race with the race pace because they were degrading the tire a bit more. Ferrari was much better in race pace and managing the degradation during the race, but in qualifying they were suffering a little bit. They were working for qualifying and Mercedes was working for the race. So it's a normal approach for the teams. At the moment it's a bit too early to see and to understand because only one day of testing and in difficult conditions. So we will discover a bit more next week, and we have to pay attention because we know that during the test teams are trying to hide a little bit the real performance of the car.
Okay, yeah. Continuing with the previous question, which team was easier to work and which one was harder? Tell us why.
No, I don't have, I cannot give you this classification because I have to say we have a very good relation with all the teams. We have one engineer allocated on each team. We never struggle, we never had issues with the teams, honestly. It's not a political answer, it's the truth.
Okay, good. What do you think is the most important part to bring a longer life to your tires?
It's a combination because obviously the downforce is important. If you have a good downforce level, you don't slide, so you don't overheat the tire, but also the mechanical side is important. So the suspension geometry is important because it makes the tire work in different ways. So if you are able to respect the tire, obviously you can get a better performance or a longer life.
Yeah. Okay. What do you think is the hardest part to develop? The efficiency, the performance, or the grip of the tire?
The performance is not a real target for us because we are the sole supplier. So it's not like when you are in open competition, performance is the target, is the only target. When you are the sole supplier, if you are 0.3 of a second per lap slower than the full potential, you don't care because everybody is in the same situation. The degradation and the wear obviously is also a target, and we have precise targets from Formula One to produce these kind of tires. For us, priority is integrity of the tire, reliability on the tire, and this is for sure our main priority.
Okay. Last week, okay. We know that Wednesday is going to snow. The forecast is saying we are going to see these tires on track.
I think they are not happy because we destroyed the tire. Don't forget we have 600 stats in each tire. So one set of tire is 2,400 stats. I'm not sure that is the right choice. But that was a good test when we were testing a Formula 1 car on a real ice, and was funny to see the car sliding with with this car tires.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And see you. Muchas gracias.